Hi guys, my name's James Russell, and I've been making music for over 20 years, and I've been a producer and mix engineer residing at Heliport Studio, or working at a Heliport Studio for over 10. And today I just want to talk about something that's quite important to me, and that's the process of mixing. Now, I firmly believe that a mix can make or break a track, and I'll go into that in a minute. One thing I do find people get confused a fair bit is the process of mixing and mastering. Often I'll talk to a band, I'll say, how's the record going? And they'll say, yeah man, it's all done, we just got to get it mastered. And it's quite clear from where they are in the process that they haven't got it mixed yet. So mixing is essentially, by definition, is all the tracks that you've recorded. So you've got 8 mics on the drum kit, and you've got a bass track, and a couple of vocal tracks and all the rest of it. Mixing is the process of balancing all those, making all those work together, and then bouncing those into a stereo file. Mastering is then treating that stereo file once it's been bounced. Now, they both use the same techniques. They both use EQ, compression, limiting, and a few other things to get the desired result. Mastering is essentially treating that stereo file to bring it up to commercial loudness and the like, or to make sure that it works across a couple of different formats. Mixing is to make sure everything works together and feels cohesive in the mix and conveys what the artist or band are trying to say with their music. Mixing is such an important thing that I really think that's the one step, especially if you're working at it, if you're, say, a small band working out of a garage or a bedroom producer. Mixing is the one step that I really think it is worth having a professional's view on. I know I might be biased because I'm a mix engineer. Say the likes of Billie Eilish and Finneas, who recently recorded all their stuff famously in their LA house. They still got their stuff mixed by a professional. And there's a reason why for that, is because a professional knows the techniques and knows what to do to make that mix sound cohesive, and there's a lot of tricks that can be done. Incidentally, talking about that track, the bad guy, that was actually a trick of the mix engineer. It was his suggestion to do that kind of effect, and that really makes that whole track pop, and that's why I think mixing can make or break a track. So essentially, especially with mixing, one of the things I find the most is when someone's not really familiar with the processes of mixing, and I see this a lot when someone, as I said, has got great recorded stuff, they've got great hooks in their music and all the rest of it, but they send me stuff that's just got some really bad mixes, and a lot of it is because people don't know how to compress properly. I find people get their head around EQ a lot easier, mainly because people have been using EQs in whether it be, car stereos or other audio equipment. They know they're familiar with the process of an EQ, so they can get their head around that. But compression, it's a completely different scenario, and believe me, compression is such an art form that you can do it for 10 years 20 years and still not fully have mastered it, because compression is basically an ever-evolving art form, and it's about nuance, and it is basically the number one bit of arsenal for a mix engineer, well, as with EQ as well. So there's a whole lot of techniques that we use as a mix engineer to try and make sure the mix pops. Classic example, with mixing, say you push up one thing, it's going to affect something else. So to make everything work in harmony, there's a lot of things that you need to do, and you need to be across just about everything to make it work. So classic example, if you push the guitars up, suddenly you lose your vocal. Those kind of things a proper professional mix engineer will be able to address. The other thing is knowing how to mix properly and putting everything in the same space. If, say, you've recorded a track and you've done the beds one day, or you've done them in different spaces even, you want that track to sound cohesive and really get the message across. The other thing a mix engineer can do is add sparkle, or even, go so far as to remix a track. I do a lot of dance remixes, I do hip-hop mixes for people with different styles. Mixing is such an art form that there's so much you can do, and whether it be a signature vocal sound that you're using for one of your pop artists, or whether it's the really grungy sound that you're using for a certain rock band or whatever, mixing is a really relevant part of that. Incidentally, you'll see me sitting in front of an SSL Duality, which is the world's best mixing console. This is one of the ones at Heliport Studios, and when people send mixes to me, I can mix on this, or these days I also use an SSL Sigma hybrid setup to make sure that I get all the benefit of mixing in the box and the recallability, but at the same time get all that beautiful SSL sound. So mixing not only can make a track sound cohesive, but can make it sound punchy, add that sparkle, add that sheen, add effects to add excitement, whether it be some amazing delay at the end of this hook or whatever to try and make sure that that hook pops, or all those kind of things. Mixing can really add that. It's not just a matter of like balancing and making things equalizing and that kind of stuff. Mixing is a really creative process too. So at the end of this video, I'll provide links. I've currently got a deal on at the moment where I do a mix and also provide a free master. And if you want to send me your tracks to get mixed, by all means do so. My name's James Russell, and thanks for watching.